Red Die number 4, Grand Theft Auto 3, and Jeff Goldblum are all on this day. Hey, welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is October 22nd, 2020. It is the 296th day of the year. There are only 70 days left in 2020. It's also the 43rd Thursday and the 31st day of fall. We got 60 days till winter. It's starting to seem like winter around here in Portland right now. Today is National Nut Day. That's incredible. National Nut Day is a public observance in celebration of all the good things about nuts. Nuts are fruit composed of hard outer shell with edible inside. Oh, that type of nut. I was thinking about something else. Anyway, they are typically high in fat, protein, vitamins, and minerals. Some of the nuts that we consume today are not really considered nuts, but rather imitations. They are peanuts, which is considered a legume, cashews, walnuts, and almonds, which are considered seeds. Nonetheless, they are celebrated on this day. National Nut Day is observed every October 22nd. All right, let's see what else October 22nd has given us. 1895 in Paris, an express train derails after overrunning a buffer stop, crossing almost 100 feet of concourse before crashing through a wall and falling 33 feet to the road below. With the train several minutes late, the driver was trying to make up lost time. It entered the station too fast, and the train's air brakes failed to stop it. The locomotive driver was sentenced to 2 months in prison. Nobody died, oddly enough. 1934, in East Liverpool, Ohio, FBI agents shoot and kill notorious bank robber Pretty Boy Floyd. His criminal exploits gained widespread coverage in the 1930s. He was seen positively by the public because, he robbed banks, and at the time, everyone hated the banks. Not only that, this dude burned mortgage documents while he was at the bank, releasing the people from debt. This back before computers. You burned the documents, the bank didn't know how much you owed them. So yeah, after that, they started keeping copies elsewhere, so that kind of changed that, but that was an awfully nice thing to do for a bank robber. I mean, I'm sure if you're a banker, you don't see it that way. 1946, over 2,200 engineers and technicians from East Germany are forced to relocate to the Soviet Union along with their families and equipment. 1976, Red Dye number 4 is banned by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration after it's discovered that it causes tumors in the bladders of dogs. They had a ban prior to this with some exceptions like maraschino cherries, which at the time were considered mainly decorative and not really food stuff. However, in 1976, they banned it altogether, and it even spread to Europe. 1983, 2 correctional officers are killed by inmates at the United States Penitentiary in Marion, Illinois. The incident inspires the Supermax model of prisons. Supermax is a unit within the prison which represents the most secure levels of custody. This helps isolate the uncontrollable inmates that happen to be in the prison, the ones that have no concern for human life or anything. Inmates are isolated 23 hours a day in these cells. 2001, Grand Theft Auto 3 is released, popularizing the genre of open-world action-adventure video games, as well as spurring controversy around violence in video games. If you don't know, Grand Theft Auto is a game you can get in and you could just do whatever you want. You can be a criminal, just anything. Drive your car down streets at 100 miles an hour, get out and shoot people. I understand the controversy, but it was just mind-blowing at the time, and the one they have now, years later, almost 20 years later, is even more in depth. The only restriction this game has in the US currently is it's published as a AO, which is adults only. That's like their rating, R-rated, that type thing. 2005, Tropical Storm Alpha forms the Atlantic Basin, making 2005's Atlantic hurricane season the most active on record. That was until it was surpassed this year in 2020. Imagine that. As the 21 pre-designated storm names had been exhausted, they give all the different names and they schedule for 21 every single year. Yeah, they had to start going with the Greek alphabet, I guess. This was the first hurricane season ever to trigger this naming protocol. 2019, same-sex marriage is legalized and abortion is decriminalized in Northern Ireland. Movies released on October 22nd, 1982. First Blood is released. If you don't know, this is the first Rambo movie starring Sylvester Stallone, and this movie inspired a whole generation of young men to join the military. I think I may have been one of them. I think it may have been in the back of my brain to join the unit that I joined because of Rambo. I don't know. Who knows? But it was in my head. If you haven't seen the movie, basically he's a drifter, ex-military Green Beret, Sylvester Stallone is, and he runs into problems with the local sheriff as he's just passing through, and they decide to beat him up, put him in jail, and he decides he's not putting up with it, and basically damages, kills, and hurts a whole bunch of people, including the sheriff, because they had to mess with him and not just let him get something to eat in town. Yeah, that's the whole premise of the story. They even called the National Guard, and he took them out. Born on October 22nd, 1938, Christopher Lloyd is born. Actor, in general, just a weird dude. He's best known for playing Reverend Jim on Taxi and Doc Brown on the Back to the Future movies. 1952, Jeff Goldblum is born. American actor and producer. He had a main role in Jurassic Park, Independence Day, and The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I saw years and years ago. That was a pretty good movie. And he was also The Fly. There's been a lot of memes recently with him ever since Mike Pence had a fly land on his head during the debate a couple weeks back. Anyway, he's been in some of the highest grossing movies in the last 30 years, I'd say. One of my favorite things that he played was in Thor Ragnarok. The part he plays is just great. I love him. 1992, SS Sniper Wolf is born. If you don't know her, she's a YouTuber. She's enormously popular or whatever. She's a very attractive young lady that plays video games. She's earned over 22 million subscribers. She started out playing video games when she was 6 years old, and her gaming name, SS Sniper Wolf, came from the video game Metal Gear Solid, which if you've ever played that sort of makes sense. Anyway, she's been around for a while, and there's a lot of controversy about her and how she's done things. Her real name's Leah, and there is a ton of YouTubers that have basically made a career over critiquing her and coming up with all kinds of conspiracy theories about her. It's just weird. Anyway, it's Leah's birthday today. Died on October 22nd, 2009, we lost Soupy Sales, American comedian and actor. He is best known for his local and network children's television show, Lunch with Soupy Sales, between 1953 and 1966. This was a show with a series of comedy sketches that frequently ended with Soupy receiving a pie in the face. He's like one of the first people to really start doing this on a big scale, and it became very entertaining back in the day. Anyway, that became sort of his trademark, getting hit in the face with a pie. He died at the age of 83 due to unspecified cancer. Alright, that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, be productive today, and be nice to each other.